Good afternoon, class. In today's video, what I'd like to do is to go over the reverse FOIL method. Now, this method looks a whole lot more involved and intense than the regular FOIL method, and if you're thinking that, you would be correct. And the reason why is because the reverse FOIL method requires a little bit more sophistication in terms of your thinking than the FOIL method. FOIL just requires that you understand how to do basic math operations. Reverse FOIL, on the other hand, does assume that you understand how to factor different numbers and break them down into their prime factorizations. So if you don't really understand that, that's something that you should look into as a supplement to this, so that it makes this method a whole lot easier and also makes the method make a whole lot more sense. To help you out with this, I did two examples, and what I wanted to show you was, I wanted to caution you on this, and that's why I wrote this in different colors, so that you can understand that certain steps, whether you've got when you're basically doing certain problems, you can actually do quite a few steps right away, like almost immediately, and they look kind of the same. And that's the problem, because if you have a different problem, you're going to have a different method. The answer is going to be actually very different, but the starting points look similar, so it's easy to make a mistake. And so I wanted to show you that difference just with a fairly simple example, but also one where it's easy to make a mistake because they look so similar. It's very easy to overlook certain things. So let's go through the setup. First, we're going to set up our parentheses and variables. So I've got my example of x squared plus 5x plus 6. So first off, I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm just doing something mechanical, especially because I know a lot of times we tend to get ahead of ourselves. We start thinking, oh, I got to do the factorization, and I have to think about all the factors of 5 or 6 or something like that. No, we don't think about that right now. The first thing is first. We set up the problem correctly. It's kind of like training. You don't just, you don't train for boxing by jumping into the boxing ring and getting beaten up by Mike Tyson in his prime. You start by learning the fundamentals, developing training your body to actually handle the strenuousness of the ring itself, and then you start to spar. Otherwise, you're just going to get beaten up. And mathematically, that would be the same thing. That would actually be a very apt analogy. So first off, we start just very basic setups. Okay, we set up with parentheses. And we know that this x squared is going to be in both of these parentheses because it's x squared. So we will always put that in there, and it's fine. So we've got that, and notice in both of these examples, x squared plus 5x plus 6, I've got parentheses and then x and x right over here. In my other example of x squared plus 5x minus 6, that's where the only difference is, but it makes a wildly different answer, we've got parentheses and then x times x. So we've got the same setup. It looks exactly the same. We're on the right track. Here's the part where it gets a little bit more intense. It's not that bad once you're used to it, but I just want to make sure we go over that. So now we're going to determine the signs in the parentheses. The second operation symbol determines if the signs are the same or different. The first symbol determines which sign the bigger number takes. Now, what I didn't write on there, because I wanted to kind of preserve some room on the board so I could actually kind of point to things, is that here's the rule. If the signs are the same, or if that second symbol is, or mathematical symbol right here, is positive, then the signs in here will be the same. If this symbol right here is negative, the signs over here will be different. Okay, so doesn't matter what this first symbol is, what this second symbol determines almost everything. So if this symbol is positive, plus, and your signs are going to be the same. If it's negative, your signs will be different. Okay, that's just one of those rules. If you want maybe a follow-up video about an example of why that's the case, I can actually refoil the whole thing so that you can see, use the FOIL method back and show you that yes, the signs have to be different. Otherwise, this negative sign cannot appear. Now, the only thing that I wasn't able to draw in this one to keep everything within the same space is that if this sign is negative, this first one right here, then both of these will be the same, but they will both be negative. So I just want to make that very clear. So that's how to do step number 2. Let's go on to step number 3. We're going to determine the factors in the rest of the parentheses. Now in this case, you may need to use different factors based on, depending on the sign. So in this case, we've got x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now we want 5, so we need to be able to get to 5 using the prime factorizations of 6. So 6 breaks down into 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. So we look at that and go, okay, what plus what will give me 5? And 6 plus 1 won't give you that, it'll give you 7. So this has to be 3 and 2. And so I can put them here. Now, does it matter where I put the 3 and the 2? No, I could put the 2 here and the 3 here, the 3 here and the 2 here. It doesn't actually matter because the signs are the same, so order doesn't matter in this case. However, when the signs are different, now you have to actually care about which sign gets the positive number. Okay? And in this case, we determine that because this first sign is positive, that the bigger number must go with the positive sign, and the negative number goes with the smaller sign. So in this example, x squared plus 5x minus 6, what that means is that, we can't use 3 and 2 anymore because 3 minus 2 is positive 1 and 2 minus 3 is negative 1, so that doesn't help. There's no way we can get positive 5 from that. However, if we used 6 and 1, that would work. One more caveat to that though is where does the 6 go? Does it go with plus or with the minus? If we put the 6 with the minus, we would have negative 6 plus 1, which would be negative 5, and that wouldn't match what we have over here, which is positive. So that's why the 6 goes with the bigger number, which is 6 in this case, goes with the positive sign. And that's how the first sign is, that's how you determine which sign gets the bigger number. So that's like 2 examples of how to do the reverse FOIL method. Obviously, I have a few more in the notes for you guys. So keep practicing. Just remember, work through this process, and as you work through this process more and more, it will become easier, and that's why we have the practice problems for you. So good luck in your studies, and may the force be with you.